Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants Hangout. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I will be your host for today. If you've been following along this month, you know that we have been really focusing on climate change. So, talking to scientists and explorers from all over the world, learning about the issues and what's happening to our planet, but also learning about some of the solutions that scientists and explorers are coming up with to help mitigate these problems. So, I want to give a huge shout out to Environment and Climate Change Canada and thank them for their support this month for helping make some of these events possible. And today I'm really excited. Today we are using one of our textbook size satellite BGAN units, and it is down in Antarctica, and we are going to be hanging out with a team there. And I want to introduce Sarah Kienle from the team. So Sarah is a marine mammal biologist at the University of California, Santa Cruz. She's fascinated by the variety of ways that animals have adapted to life underwater. So Sarah's work has taken her to remote islands, to zoos, to aquariums around North America. And of course, she is currently now in Antarctica studying leopard seals, which are a top predator in the Southern Ocean. So Sarah, this is so awesome to have you joining us live from Antarctica today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Isn't technology pretty awesome?
The technology is incredible. This is our first time being connected to the internet in 2.5 weeks.
I know. I was a little bit nervous. We haven't talked for a while, but so far so good.
Yeah, us too. We were nervous as well. Yes, we're doing great.
All right, Sarah, well, we're excited to learn about some of your research. We're excited to see where you are and meet some of the team. We're ready.
All right, sounds great. So hi from Cape Shiref, Antarctica. I'm here with a team of researchers all right behind me. And you guys are all really lucky because this is one of our very few sunny days. And we have a stunning view of the glacier behind us. We have southern elephant seals right here. And I'm going to turn and over here. Oh, over here is a little Waddell seal. And we're here working with leopard seals. Our season about 2 weeks ago. And so far, we've done work with 5 leopard seals, adult animals, both males and females. And we're here studying the basically feeding behavior, ecology, and physiology of these animals. Very little is known about them, but if we think about top predators, we can list lions, tigers, bears, killer whales. Well, leopard seals are right up there with them, but we know very little about what they eat and how they work and what they do and how they're responding to a rapidly changing ocean environment. So that's why we're here. As Joe mentioned, my name is Sarah, and I'm from the University of California, Santa Cruz, where I study how marine mammals eat. And I'm going to pass the phone around so that every member of our team can introduce ourselves. I'm just going to show it to you.
I'm Mike Goebel, and I'm from San Diego, California. I work with National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
And Shane Canadis from Colorado State University.
I'm Renato from the Chilean Antarctic Institute in Chile.
Oh, you should introduce yourself in Spanish too.
Oh, yeah. Some kids watching. This is for them. Soy Renato desde Antártica. Trabajo en el Instituto Antártico Chileno.
Steve Trumbull, Waco, Texas, Baylor University.
And our whole team has a variety of expertise that we're all using, coming from multiple institutions. Oh, can you hear me still?
Yep, Sarah, you're still coming through.
Oh, okay, great. So where we are right now is we're on an island called Livingston Island. It's on the Antarctic Peninsula. And where we're specifically located is called Cape Shiref. And it's this little peninsula that's got land and not covered by ice. So behind me, you should be able to see that blue in the background. That's the glacier that covers most of this island. And there's actually some stunning mountains behind it, but usually they're covered in clouds. You can see a little bit of the mountains over there. And so where I'm located right now is on this beach that's called Media Luna. And we have some southern elephant seals laying out on the beach. So that there's one right there that's calling. You probably can't hear him from here, but he's got his mouth open and is calling. And then we have some stunning mountains over here. And so what we do every day is we get up when the sun rises. Sunrise today was around 9:30 a.m. we go hiking and looking for leopard seals. And if we're lucky, we see maybe one, and then we gear up and we go and we work on the animals and we attach instruments to them that tell us what they do while they're at sea. We also take all sorts of measurements, mass, length, girth, so how fat they are, to get a sense of how well they're doing on these feeding trips. And then we also take all these samples that give us information about diet and body condition and their health. And it's giving us this incredible picture of what leopard seals are doing. So for example, one of the things we're learning is that leopard seals are thought to be kind of wimpy divers. Turns out they can dive more than 700 meters in the ocean, which is incredible. That's an amazing feat for any animal. But for these animals that are typically thought to spend most of their time at their surface, it's really wild to learn that they're being able to do such deep dives. Yeah. Can you hear us still?
Yeah, we got you, Sarah. So Sarah, tell me a little bit, or tell us
Yes.
a little bit about how you work with the leopard seals. What do you have to do to be able to work with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Renato's going to go grab one of the instruments we use to put on the animals. So because these are wild animals and they're extremely large, so they weigh, some of the females we've been working with weigh about 500 kilograms and can measure more than 3 meters in length. So they're huge animals. We end up having to sedate them. So we give them some medicine that essentially makes them fall asleep. They actually are snoring a lot of times while we're working with them. And that allows us to safely work with the animals and has us be safe and the animal be safe. Procedure when we're working with the animals typically takes about an hour. And during that time, we take all of these samples and measurements that give us so much information about these animals. So Renato here has an instrument. This is one of the instruments we would put on the leopard seal. And what it does is it records information about where the animal is when it's at sea. So the antenna here connects through the satellite system, very much like the internet that we're using to do this call does. It connects through the satellites and gives us location information every 30 minutes for months at a time. And it also records information about how deep the animal is diving. And that's how we know that some of these animals are actually diving quite deep in the water column, which is really amazing. And it also tells us where they're going. So I can tell you that from last year, some of the animals we worked with, some of them, for example, this seal named Violet that we keep seeing over that mountain pass over there, Violet, year round. She doesn't leave. She stays really close to the shore, hauls on and off the beach regularly. But we had other animals that traveled hundreds of kilometers to other islands and to the middle of the open ocean to feed. So they're doing really different things, which is really neat.
All right, Sarah, one of the classrooms sent in a question. They typed one just to me now, and they're wondering about the temperature you're dealing with right now. How's the temperature today?
Oh, so the temperature is pretty darn cold, but it's not going to sound that cold. So it's only about negative 4.5 degrees Celsius. However, the wind is almost never less than 20 to 30 knots. And it's really wet. And so it is extraordinarily chilly, but it's not, if you say it just in degrees, it doesn't sound as cold as it actually is.
All right,
Great
very
question.
cool. All right. Well, Sarah, what else can you tell us about the expedition so far?
Yeah, so this season so far, we have worked with 5 animals. This is our second field season, so we were down here this time last year. And it's incredible how different the environment is just in the 2 years that we've been doing this project. And it's amazing how fast the environment here changes. What we're learning about leopard seals is that they seem to be pretty picky about what sort of weather they haul out. And when I say haul out, what I mean is that they actually come on shore onto the beach. And so it seems like they don't like the rain. They don't really like the snow. They don't like when it's really windy. And because that describes pretty much all of our days here, we're not seeing as many as we did last year. But we know that they're around because of the instruments we put on them last year. We know that there's animals here regularly, but we're seeing tons of other animals. So the southern elephant seals, that are behind me over here. We're seeing a lot of elephant seals. We're seeing a lot of whale seals, Antarctic fur seals. And so this is a really amazing environment. There's lots of species that live here and are doing really well. And so we still have another 3 weeks here. So we're hopeful that we're going to be able to put out the rest of our instruments. We're hoping to get at least 10 and work with 10 animals, leopard seals, while we're here.
All right, very cool. Well, you're halfway there to your goal. The tags that you put on the leopard seals,
Yes.
do they fall off eventually?
Yeah. Yes, they fall off eventually. So the best case scenario would be that we would see that animal next year and be able to get the instrument off. You get about 10 times more data by actually getting the instrument back in hand. But because we're in such a weird environment that's so far away, and a lot of these animals are spending so much time at sea, most of the instruments fall off within a year. Because one of the things about seals is that they lose their hair every year. And so the longest an animal could ever have an instrument would be 1 year. These tags for most of the animals transmitted for about 6 months before they either broke, ran out of battery, or fell off last year.
All right, very cool. Well, Sarah, many of the classrooms may know that the polar regions are warming up twice as fast as the rest of the planet. How do you think climate change might affect a species like the leopard seal?
That is such a great question. And it's one of those things we don't know that much about leopard seals, so it's really hard to know how climate change is affecting them. And that's one of the things we're here to study. But I'm going to turn this question over to Mike, actually, because he has been working at this spot in this station for more than 20 years. So he has seen some really incredible and dramatic changes over that time. And so I'm going to let him answer that because he's the best person to speak to it.
Some of our biggest changes have been in the glacier. It's receded quite a bit since I first worked here. But the other big changes are that leopard seals are primarily ice seals. And they seem to be switching prey. They didn't used to feed so much on the seals around Cape Shiref, but over the last 20 years, we've seen dramatic increases in the number of leopard seals, and they appear to be switching prey from ice-associated animals like krill to animals like fur seals. And fur seals were at one time very abundant at Cape Shiref. We had over 10,000 pups born here, and now there's only about 1,000, and most of that has been due to leopard seals preying on fur seal pups.
And I'll also add one of the other things that seems to be happening is leopard seals didn't need to be here. They're here now, but there are also leopard seals in other unusual places like Chile and in New Zealand. And we don't know yet if that's because leopard seals are having to move to find new prey, or whether maybe leopard seals are doing really well. But they're definitely being affected by this warming environment. And part of our goal is to figure out how well they're going to be able to cope with that and how flexible they are in their behavior to adapt to this really rapidly changing place.
All right, very cool. Well, Sarah, I'm wondering if we can get another look at those handsome elephant seals behind us, and maybe if you guys can tell us a little bit about the elephant seals.
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit, but I'm guessing your question is about these southern elephant seals behind me. Is that correct?
Yeah, can we get another look at them, and can you tell us a little bit about them?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna get a little bit closer, and hopefully I don't lose signal. All right. So these over here, these sleeping beasts, are southern elephant seals. And southern elephant seals actually have a sister species that's in the northern hemisphere, from Mexico to California and Oregon, called the northern elephant seal. Southern elephant seals are huge animals. They're actually the largest species of seal. And they are usually on land about twice a year, once a year to breed and once a year to molt. And here we have a bunch of juveniles, some adult females, and a couple of big males that are sleeping over there. Elephant seals are one of the most sexually dimorphic species on the planet, especially among mammals. And what that means is that males and females are they come out on land, how they feed with each other, where they feed, what they eat. All of it is affected because they're so different size. And so these guys here right now are just sleeping. Animals there, and a lot of the little young juveniles seem to have little fake fights to be probably practicing for when they're bigger. And so I don't know if you can see these brownish animals. The larger males, and they can weigh thousands of kilograms. They're just huge animals.